This is an update on the Ray Gricar case. Ray Gricar was the district attorney or prosecutor that went missing a long time ago. And I just found this update about his case. It says cold case, missing person Ray Frank Gricar, Belafonte, I believe that's how you pronounce it, Center County, $5,000 reward, which $5,000 really isn't a lot these days, but I guess anything would help. It says June 5th, 2023. The Belafonte Police Department continued their investigation into missing person Ray Gricar, Belafonte, Center County. Ray was last seen on April 15th, 2005 in Belafonte, Pennsylvania. And if I'm mispronouncing that, I'm sorry. It could be Belafont, but I'm pronouncing it Belafonte. He took a half day off from work and left his place of employment driving his 2004 Mini Cooper, which is red with a white top and a vanity license plate. A photograph of the vehicle is posted with this case summary. Ray called his longtime girlfriend, Patty Fornicola, on his cellular phone at 11:30 a.m. and said he was driving northeast on Route 192 toward Lewisburg and Union County, Pennsylvania. He never arrived home, and Fornicola reported him missing at 11:30 p.m. that same day. There has been no activity on his cell phone, email, bank accounts, or credit cards since his disappearance. Ray has been the Center County District Attorney for 20 years and had decided to retire in December and not seek re-election. He is described as a hardworking and dedicated lawyer and was involved in some high-profile cases, but authorities stated that no threats had been made against him and they did not believe his disappearance had anything to do with his job. The day after Ray vanished, his car was found in a dirt parking lot on the outskirts of Lewisburg in Union County, near the Susquehanna River. And I'm sorry I mispronounced that too. 45 miles east of his Belafonte home. There was no sign of him at the scene and no signs of foul play, but cigarette ashes were found inside the vehicle, and Ray dislikes cigarette smoke and would be unlikely to allow someone to smoke in his car. Ray's cellular phone was locked inside the vehicle and a water bottle was also found. Ray's DNA was on the bottle, indicating he drank from it. The Mini Cooper's keys were missing and have never been found. An antique store was close by, and its proprietor thought Ray might have been in his shop that day, but this has not been confirmed. The store owner said the man he saw appeared to be waiting for someone. Ray is interested in antiques and had been to the store before. None of Ray's luggage, clothing, or other belongings were found to be missing from the home he shared with Fornicola, but his county-issued laptop computer and sunglasses disappeared with him. The laptop's case and power source were left behind. So this is an article from the New York Post. Officials in Pennsylvania offered a $5,000 reward for information in the cold case of a missing prosecutor who vanished under mysterious circumstances more than 18 years ago. Veteran prosecutor Ray Gricar, 59, was just months away from retiring as a Center County District Attorney when he disappeared on April 15, 2005, according to the Pennsylvania Crime Stoppers. Gricar had told his girlfriend he planned to drive on Route 192 toward Lewisburg, Pennsylvania. His red Mini Cooper was found near the Susquehanna River near the following day. In an odd twist, Gricar's brother, Roy J. Gricar, disappeared from Dayton, Ohio in May 1996. Roy Gricar's body was later pulled from the Great Miami River, and his death was eventually ruled a suicide. Although investigators considered the possibility that Ray Gricar also took his own life, there is no evidence to suggest that he had mental health struggles, Crime Stoppers said. The scene where Ray Gricar's Mini Cooper was found did not suggest foul play, but family members were confused by the cigarette ashes inside. Ray Gricar did not smoke, and his loved ones claimed he would not allow someone else to smoke in his vehicle. Gricar's county-issued laptop was discovered under the Route 45 bridge with its hard drive physically ejected in July of 2005. The hard drive was found upstream 2 months later. The discovery also led investigators to the information that Gricar had purchased software to clear the hard drive and even made internet searches like how to wreck a hard drive, the outlet said. Although the retrieved hard drive was irreparably damaged by water and silt, the news contributed to rumors that the high-powered attorney's disappearance stemmed from one of his cases. One early subject of speculation was Taji Verbal Lee, who was sent down by Centre County as part of massive heroin bust weeks before Gricar vanished. PennLive.com noted, Gricar's disappearance was also compared to the unsolved 2003 death of Assistant U.S. Attorney Jonathan Luna, a drug investigator who was found dead in a Lancaster County creek. Then, in 2011, the public learned that Gricar declined to prosecute disgraced former Penn State football coach Jerry Sandusky for child sexual abuse back in 1998. But while Gricar's colleague, former Montour County District Attorney Bob Broiner, believes Gricar was killed, he does not think the Sandusky case is involved. Who in the Sandusky case would have the motive to do any harm to Ray Gricar, he told PennLive.com in 2015. Gricar might have been the best witness for Sandusky had he been alive, and any victim probably wasn't old enough, I don't think, to be abducting the DA and making him disappear. Gricar's daughter, Laura, and his longtime girlfriend, Patty Fornicola, both passed polygraph tests. Still, Brainer hinted that family history may play a role in the case. Ray never believed his brother committed suicide. The most important reason was that he thought his brother would never orphan his two sons, Ray's nephews, he explained to the outlet. Ray Gricar has not used his email, cell phone, bank accounts, or credit card since he vanished, Crime Stopper said. He was declared legally dead in 2011. So these are pictures of Ray Gricar. And that's that red Mini Cooper that he had. I believe it went to his daughter. He left it to his daughter, I think. His daughter or his girlfriend, but I think it was his daughter he left the car to. And there's more pictures of them. One point I would like to say, they make a point of that there were ashes found in his car on the day he went missing, and that he did not like cigarette smoke and wasn't a smoker. And the only thing I have to say to that is if, and I'm just saying if he was potentially feeling like unaliving himself, doing some kind of harm to himself, he very well could have possibly smoked that day, and then the cigarettes were in lighter were in his pocket whenever he did what he did. Because, I mean, if you're thinking about unaliving yourself, do you really care about the smell of cigarettes or the, cigarette ashes in your car and stuff like that? So that's just one point I want to make. I'm not saying I think he did unalive himself. I don't know. I'm just saying, and cigarette ashes don't necessarily mean that somebody else was in his car. Because if somebody's, thinking things like that, they may not care anymore about having ashes in the car, cigarette smoke, and so he could have very well smoked some cigarettes that day if he was thinking of doing harm to himself. And another thing, when they talk about the polygraph tests of his girlfriend and daughter, I was wondering, did they ask the ex-wife to take a polygraph test, or was she not around, or there's no possibility that she would have had anything to do with his disappearance? And also, I do agree that, the Penn State case, although very interesting that he was connected to that case, it doesn't mean that somebody involved in the Penn State case had anything to do with his disappearance. Like, I don't think one of the victims in that case came after him, and I don't think Jerry Sandusky or people on his behalf did something to this man, because obviously Ray Gricar didn't prosecute him, so they would have been happy about that, Sandusky's family or friends or whatever. The victims, like they said in this article, were young, and they eventually did get justice. And Ray Gricar disappeared in 2005, and nobody knew about the 1998 investigation. It wasn't public, so they didn't know about it until 2011. So I don't think Sandusky's victims took out revenge on Ray Gricar. But people say, or some people think or theorize, that maybe he got rid of that computer because it held information about the investigation, and Ray, if he was intentionally going to disappear or possibly do harm to himself, he did not want people to know about that investigation or other investigations that he was doing or knew about. Some people also theorize that maybe he had something else to hide, like not just an investigation into a high profile case, but maybe he himself has something to hide on his computer. And that is why he worked so hard to destroy the hard drive, to make it unrecoverable, where people cannot find out what was on that hard drive. So those are just theories out there. Let me read some of the comments down below to see what people are saying. Only $5,000 for info. I've seen higher rewards for lost cats. Well, that's true. That seemed kind of low for today. But this is an old case, and I don't think that they actually think that they're going to get a resolution in this case. They're just keeping it out there. But I don't think, they don't have any new information or any new clues or thoughts about what happened to them. I think they still have the same theories. A missing prosecutor. Maybe someone got charged and was actually going to be tried. Well, that's one theory. Somebody who was fixing to be tried wanted to do something to him. But they, all evidence seems to point to the fact that it was Ray Gricar who did the internet searches on his either home or work computer to find out how to get rid of his hard drive or how to destroy his hard drive. So did somebody convince him to do that? Was he going to meet with somebody to take information about a case? Did somebody threaten him so he'd agree to meet with somebody? Was there something going on that he was so scared that he would do something as foolish as that without informing law enforcement? I have no idea. That's why a lot of people think he himself had something to hide, because he went to great lengths to destroy his computer and hard drive. But it could be that somebody else wanted him to destroy it, and he did out of fear. That's a theory I have. Guy is no doubt buried under the concrete foundation of a house somewhere. That could be. His body has never been found, and if he jumped into the river or a river or lake, some kind of water somewhere, his body could have been found. It would have either floated to the top or floated downstream and been discovered. But there are cases, of course, we know where bodies are never found, or they're found years later. Even after massive searches, bodies show up where they already searched. So I'm not an expert on rivers and streams and how dead bodies, go or act in water sources, but there have been cases where it's been a long time or years later where they found bodies in rivers and streams and stuff. So it's possible that his body was just not found, that it could have floated far downstream, far away, and it just disappeared. They never found it yet. It does happen. $5,000 ain't much in these days of bad inflation. Okay. Why would you let a case go cold when the man was a veteran prosecutor? Are these the same people who voted for Fetterman? Remember, this is Pennsylvania, and Fetterman's a senator who represents Pennsylvania. So what they're saying is, why would you let a cold case go when the man was a veteran prosecutor. So you would think that a prosecutor's case would have been like a high priority, and I'm sure it was at the time. I remember there was a lot of media coverage at the time, but they never found him or any clues or any evidence that he was murdered. So it went cold. Obviously, it's a very cold case. But one thing I was thinking, I'm sure they must have been. I'm sure they were, but was the FBI involved? I'm not particularly a fan of the FBI, but I'm pretty sure they had to be involved in this case. I know they were the federal prosecutor, Luna, Mr. Luna. I'm pretty sure they were involved in that one. I'm sure at some point they assisted or got involved in this case too. But obviously nobody, whether the state police, federal police, local police, nobody found any evidence to suggest what actually happened to this man. Because Gerardo Rivera did such a great job of reporting on the Al Capone's vault case, Fox News just reassigned Rivera to investigate this matter too. if anybody remembers, Al Capone's Vault was that TV show that Gerardo Rivera did where he went into the vault and there was nothing there. I remember that. Gosh, I was young back then. Ooh, that's a long time ago. So I'm imagining Corn Pop 76 is an older person. Okay, John Augusta. For the Ray Gricar case, I would suggest that you check out a podcast called Final Argument, The Disappearance of District Attorney Ray Gricar. The woman who is doing this has researched the case for over 10 years, and she actually got the whole police case file. Oh, wow. So if anybody's interested in this case, you might want to actually look up this podcast. Apparently, John Augusta, June 10th, 2023, on this comment on the New York Post, it recommends it, so doesn't hurt to check it out. Anyway, the podcast is called Final Argument, and she apparently has gotten the whole police case file, which that would be very interesting to look at, which I guess she is putting out a little at a time. Oh, so she's going to do like a whole series thing, make us listen like once a week or something. It is amazing what she has uncovered. She is convinced he was murdered, and she is making the case that he was getting ready to charge Penn State University Jerry Sandusky, Tom Corbett, the former governor of Pennsylvania, and others. Ooh, no, I'm not familiar with Tom Corbett as far as what he has to do with the Sandusky case. If anybody knows, you can comment to me. Let me know. Is he a pervert too, or says he was a former governor of Pennsylvania? Was he friends with Sandusky and he knew about it? Anyway, it's the best reporting on this case I have seen so far. I think it is a massive cover-up. So unless he's just advertising for this podcast called Final Argument, that does sound very interesting. And that is another thing. Let me clarify. Earlier when I was thinking, I said, I don't think the Sandusky case had anything to do with his disappearance. But in 1998, Ray Gricar decided not to prosecute Sandusky, but maybe he was working on it again that nobody knew about, and then somebody had to destroy his computer. They lured him somewhere with his computer so that they could destroy it. Maybe they did unalive him and took his body somewhere else or threw it in the water, and it hasn't been found. I'm just thinking off the top of my head here, trying to think, because I never thought about it like that. Like maybe, because the Sandusky case came out in 2011, but maybe Ray Gricar, like the 1998 case nobody knew about, he was still working on, or was working on a different aspect of the case, different victims or something, or he just reopened it himself. But it looks like we would have heard that. That's why I'm not sure if that case has anything to do with his disappearance, because it looks like we would have heard that after he disappeared. They talked about the 1998 investigation. So if they thought he was investigating him again, Sandusky again in 2005 or 2004 or whatever, why didn't they just mention that year too? So I just don't, I'm not sure. I don't really have I don't think one way or the other whether the Jerry Sandusky case is involved in his disappearance or not. Now, like as far like a murder, like he was murdered because of that case, I'm not so sure I think that. Now, could he have had guilt that he knew this high profile people were getting away with awful stuff and he didn't stop at 1998, and he knew it was still ongoing. He had heard from people that, of course, we all know pedophiles don't stop. They're predators. They keep on and on and on until somebody stops them. So maybe he had guilt. Maybe that's one of the reasons. If he did unalive himself, maybe that's just one of the reasons why he just couldn't take life anymore, and his job caused him a lot of mental anguish. Who knows? I think this article is dated as Bob Brainer, quoted in the article, died in September 2021. Oh, so let's see what this says. Brainer probably knew too much. Oh, well, okay. I just heard about this $5,000 reward recently, and the article was dated June 5th or 6th of 2023. So I think the article may be dated, but I think the reward is recent. Probably in a river like his brother. That's possible. Either he chose to be in a river or somebody put him in a river. But John Augustus says, I doubt it. And his body has never been found. So, or a piece of clothing. Like I said, I'm not familiar with the area where he went missing and how, big of a river or a stream that they think he might have jumped in is, and how it flows, what direction, and, how deep, how, just what it's near and all that, what kind of topography is around there and stuff. So, but it could be, his body got hung up somewhere. It's just never been found. And apparently his clothes haven't either. So that could be a very good clue that maybe his body is not in a water source somewhere. Now, the other theory about this case is that he just disappeared purposely and is living somewhere else. One theory is he's living somewhere in Europe where he has relatives or ancestors came from or whatever, but I don't know. With today's technology and everything, I think we would know it. He was 59 in 2005 when he went missing. He possibly, if he did disappear on purpose to go live somewhere else because he had saved up money, cash money, and just disappeared on purpose, which is possible, to live a new life. He possibly could have died from natural causes by now, or he's still alive somewhere and nobody recognizes him because he's a lot older and he's living in some small community where they don't, keep up with true crime and social media and stuff. Anything's possible in this case since we have no evidence. But I don't know if this case will ever be solved. It's been so long, and he, like somebody said in the comments, he's a prosecutor. If they can't solve the case of a prosecutor, it looks like they would have, unless he was a dirty person, like he has something to hide and nobody just wanted it out there, like the federal government, they just want to keep it hidden. They don't want, who knows with the government? Who knows? You can't really trust government, I would say. There's no really transparency in government. If they have a reason to keep something secret, they will keep it secret, and they will lie to the public for various reasons. So who knows? But anyway, the update that I know is, this article is apparently June 6, 2023. But anyway, the update is that there is a $5,000 reward. Can't click on that, for his disappearance. Let's see if I can. I don't know if the $5,000 reward is for his body or for somebody to tell where he is, or is for a conviction of somebody. I guess it doesn't say. So I guess just putting it out there. You'll get $5,000 if you know anything about this man. If only pictures could talk. So what do you think? Do you think he disappeared on purpose to live another life somewhere else? Do you think he unalived himself? Or do you think he was murdered? It'd be interesting to see what that podcast that was mentioned in the comments says about this case.